Welcome back. Well, our brave police officers nationwide remain under attack. It's not only no longer safe for citizens to roam the streets, but now cops have to be always checking their six. Why? Because, well, with these liberal politicians out there saying reimagine and defund police and all cops are racist, you're emboldening these bad guys. That's what you're doing. They're out there trying to keep communities safe, and they're getting attacked. Matter of fact, over the weekend, multiple cops shot, several killed. And it was across the country. Let's show you. Let's head to the East Coast. Big Apple. Lawlessness on the rise. We know that. Murders at an all-time high. Violent crime. The mayor there, this new guy, Eric Adams, who used to be a cop, should know better and get a handle on this. One NYPD police officer killed, another critically injured in a shooting in Harlem over the weekend. 27-year-old officer Wilbert Mora, a 4-year veteran of the force, remains critically wounded, fighting for his life right now as I speak. And a young rookie, 22-year-old Jason Rivera, is dead after he was shot and killed. Here's what we know. Friday night, Harlem, officers call domestic dispute. Woman arguing with her son. Officers arrive on the scene. A suspect, LaShawn McNeil, immediately opens fire, fatally killing Rivera and wounding Mora. A third officer later actually hit the suspect as he tried to get away. Thank goodness. We'll keep an update on the other officer on that one. Now let's talk about him. 47-year-old McNeil, career criminal, of course. 1998, South Carolina, arrested for unlawful possession of a weapon. 02, assaulting a police officer in Pennsylvania. 03, arrested twice in Pennsylvania. Felony drug charge, misdemeanor narcotics, blah, 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 blah. Why do they keep letting him out? These Soros-backed DAs, these liberal judges. That's why. And that's why, folks, if you're watching out there in a city where crime is on the rise, or you have a family member in law enforcement and you're fearful for their life, you're fearful for your own life because your neighborhood's just going crazy with crime, that's who you blame it on. It's the judges and the prosecutors. The cops are doing their jobs. They're putting their lives on the line to bust them and bring them to justice. Then a DA decides not to prosecute or give them a slap on the wrist. And then a judge gives them an easy sentence or no bail. And they go out and repeat and repeat and repeat. When's enough? Let's head to Houston, Texas. Sunday morning, 47-year-old Harris County Corporal, his name's Charles Galloway, there he was, shot several times, killed during a traffic stop. According to Harris County's precinct, he was conducting a routine stop. He got the suspect out of the car, and then this scumbag opened fire, shooting him several times. The suspect then drove away. The officer was a 12-year veteran of Harris County. He leaves behind a daughter. How about Washington, D.C.? We know what a cesspool of swamp is. An officer had to be rushed to the hospital after being shot. This happened Sunday evening, Northwest D.C. Police approach a suspect who was acting suspicious. He immediately opens fire, shooting the officer. As of this morning, don't know the officer's name yet. Not sure if he got released from the hospital. But again, just another one. This is just this weekend. And those are the only ones that made headlines that we could find today. This is constantly happening, though, folks, to the brave men and women of law enforcement. And it's disgusting. And it should be apolitical. I don't know why politics comes into the discussion of cops doing their jobs, as long as they're doing it properly. Why is this a political discussion? Joining me now to discuss the latest attacks on law enforcement, Pinal County, Arizona Sheriff Mark Lamb. Sheriff, thanks for coming back on the program. First and foremost, nice to finally meet you in person the other day at the Save America rally in your county out in Arizona with 45 and all those great patriots. You might know, before we get to this issue at hand, was it about 50 or 60,000 that turned up and a good 7 to 10 miles of cars waiting to get in, even as the president began speaking? Because that's what I thought. It was huge.
Yeah, it was. You're probably right, or pretty close to that. And it was great meeting you in person, Dan. I appreciate all the work you do. And can I just say thank you for what you just talked about with these law enforcement officers, for the good men and women that put on this badge every day. They deserve more respect than they're getting lately. So thank you for addressing that.
Hey, man, guess what? One of these days, I'm going to have to call 911. I'm not stupid. I know what you guys and gals do every day. And for these people out there to keep saying reimagining and defund and cops are racist and all this BS that's getting cops shot and injured or killed, like almost on the daily now in the last couple of years since the whole George Floyd thing, and I'll go even further back. It started under Michael Brown, under Obama. That's when it all started, this attack on police. And now look what's happening with this insanely high rise in crime in almost every major Democrat-run city with Democrat DAs and liberal judges. It's everywhere. You don't have to be a scientist or a mathematician to put the numbers together and see who the hell caused all this. Right, Sheriff?
It's disgusting. They've undermined the rule of law, and that's what this country was built on. The preamble to the Constitution says, "We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice." It was the very first thing. The founding fathers, James Madison, said in the Federalist Papers, if men were angels, there would be no government, wouldn't be necessary. But unfortunately, men aren't angels, as we can clearly see.
Right.
Therefore, we need law enforcement to uphold the rule of law. And that's been the backbone of America. Now we have politicians in the mainstream media undermining it. Shame on them. It's despicable.
And I'd add one more to that, Sheriff, too. The mainstream media. I mean, you want to talk about somebody that's culpable, that should be, and I know they hate me when I say this, and I could care less. You want to talk about somebody should be charged with treason? It's mainstream media corporate executives that have allowed this narrative to be spewed instead of doing their damn jobs, pulling up the actual facts and running statistics. But all the networks care about is ratings, which I guess they don't, because their ratings are in the tank right now, covering the news they cover and telling the lies they tell. But let's be real, Sheriff, they're just as culpable, because when a politician or a pundit says black people are being slaughtered in the streets by cops, and those are phrases they've used, the media doesn't correct them and call it on it in an interview and go, well, actually, sir, we have the numbers here, and only 40-some were killed in 2020 by officers, and a majority of them had a weapon as well. I mean, do your job. So I think they're more culpable than some of the politicians.
I think you're exactly right, Dan. They're the ones feeding this fueling this fire against police officers with data that is just isn't true. It isn't even data. They're playing on emotions.
Yes.
They don't go off of data, because the data would show that the men and women who do this job every day do a dang good job. Are there a few bad ones amongst the group? Sure.
In every industry.
About any industry has it. But for the most part, for the amount of calls we respond to and the nature of the calls we respond to every year, kudos to the men and women who do this job. They do amazing. And I think most Americans agree with that and do support police. It's just these liberal-run cities that are a disaster right now.
Yeah, but don't think, folks, it can't come to your small bubble in the Midwest or the South where everybody thinks it's the heartland, it's conservative, no big deal. That's coastal crap in liberal cities. I ain't got to worry about that. I live in blah, 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 Ohio, like where I'm from. I don't drive to Cleveland or Chicago. Guess what? You get a liberal DA elected in there, you get a liberal sheriff elected in there, and you got liberal judges on the bench, it can come to your small town. It's happening. We've seen it time and time again. I want to pivot. Speaking of coming to your town, let's talk about immigration, because that, of course, came up at the rally. You and I discussed it, and your county and other Arizona sheriffs have taken a real hardline stance on trying to secure the border, obviously with no help from the Biden regime. So I want to put a headline up from Daily Mail and get your take on this, because when I saw this over the weekend, I was just disgusted once again. So folks, the TSA is now saying that since they have no ID, talking about these hundreds of thousands of illegals that Biden's let pour in, they're going to allow their arrest warrant to be their identification to hop on a plane and fly with you and your family to whichever state the Biden regime decides to dump them in, because let's be real, every state's becoming a border state. What do you make of this? An arrest record for your ID, but no IDs for voting.
Dan, honestly, I can't even believe that we're even entertaining this stupidity. It is so asinine to be even discussing this. First of all, when you have an arrest warrant, it's typically just a piece of paper. There's no picture on it that even identifies that as you. And then shouldn't TSA be notifying law enforcement saying, hey, this guy's got a warrant here, so we can deal with it appropriately? Like, I just don't even understand where we're getting in this country. But here's the thing. They're so crazy and they're so far out in left field. They're not even in left field. They're in the bleachers, like getting a hot dog at the stand now. They're so far out there that the American people have caught wind of this, and they're finally waking up. And I think 2022 is going to be a rebuking year for all of these nuts job politicians that we have.
When are you up again, by the way? Is it 4 terms, or 4 years rather, for one term?
2024. I'm on the presidential cycle.
You're on 20. Okay. And is it unlimited for sheriffs there? Do you guys have a cap on how?
thank goodness Arizona's unlimited. I love serving as the sheriff and representing the people of Pinal County, and hopefully they'll keep me.
I love the fact, by the way, that President Donald Trump said you looked like and you sound like somebody directly from Central Casting. He said, if you're looking for a county sheriff for a movie and you want to find a guy to fit that role, it's Sheriff Lamb. That was a great line on stage that Trump said about you, and there's a great pic with you and 45 as well. And I got to admit, I mean, come on, and I can say this as a confident, straight man. You're tall, dark, handsome, you got the gun, the hat, the badge, well-spoken, and yeah, you're kind of a badass. So if somebody's looking to cast a sheriff in a movie, Sheriff Mark Lamb, Pinal County, Arizona.
I don't know if the Politico and CNN and all those other people agree with you.
Oh, they'll hate you for it. Do it anyway.
But who cares, right? Look, the American people, I was humbled by the reception that I got from the crowd that night. That said to me that we're doing the job we're supposed to be doing. We're protecting the people's rights, and I appreciate it.
You got the biggest cheer when he named off state senators and all kinds of legislators for Arizona. And then when he said Sheriff Lamb, the entire crowd, tens of thousands, went nuts for you. So can't wait to see you again. Sheriff Mark Lamb, take care of yourself. And please, you and the rest of the deputies out there, be safe. God bless you.
Thank you.